long as you're there. Baby, we can do this all night. Keep on second guessing our love, oh love. I don't really care if you don't mind. Baby, we can do this all night. We can do it all night. We can do it all night. Baby, won't you hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. The closer I get, the further you go. I wanna know if I walk away, do you wanna get close? Do you wanna get close? Baby, we can do this all night. Keep on second guessing our love, oh no. I don't really care if you don't mind, don't mind. Baby, we can do this all night. Keep on second guessing our love, oh love. I don't really care if you don't mind. Baby, we can do this all night. We can do it all night. We can do it all night. Baby, won't you hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Let's get some sun, baby, it's time to go. All we need to put on is the radio. I can feel the heat is rising, and that beat is hypnotizing. Oh, oh, oh. No, we run the show. Let's get louder, come on, lose control.
Good morning, everybody. Better just turn down that music. There we go. So you're very welcome. Thanks a million for joining us again for our Saturday morning event. And today we thought we'd have a conversation about goal setting. It's the end of the quarter. And I know as a business, we've been looking at how we performed over the quarter and what we're going to do for the next quarter. And it's a good time to set yourself some personal goals. So Jacqui, again, is here joining me this morning. Thank you very much for joining me, Jacqui. How are you today?
Fantastic. Beautiful sunny morning outside for Easter weekend. It's great, Jamie.
That's it. It's lovely to see the Easter lilies in the background. Yeah, just be careful on the white shirt.
I know.
Could be a disaster. It won't be.
There could be tears later.
Yeah, exactly. Oh dear. Anyway, so we were over the last couple of days we were having a chat between us about what we thought would be useful for people, and it's the end of the quarter, so it's time to review those goals, and either things have gone exactly to plan, or maybe they haven't gone quite as you envisaged it. And so it's really about what do we do now. So we're having a look at the different things, and it's definitely so important to review your goals, because you have to be able to get feedback and see where you're at, and that allows you to, I think, adjust what you're doing so that you obviously can achieve the end outcome that you want. So what approach do you normally take, Jacqui, when you're thinking of first of all what goals you're going to set? How many goals do you set, or what sort of what do you think are the main things that are so important for people?
Well, like having a business, we sit down and we review the quarter, the goals that we set, what we achieved, what we didn't achieve, where we could improve. And, we're going into the second quarter now of the year, and summer's approaching, and it looks like lockdown's going to lift in the next 2 months. So, I know what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down. I'll take, please God. I'm going to take pen and paper, and I'm going to assess my first quarter. And then I'm going to start to plan for the next quarter of the goals that I would like to achieve, not just in my body shape, but with my business, with life in general, and set those goals out. And then I would probably write down, what tasks do I need to do every day to ensure that I'm going to be working towards those goals. But one thing that I suppose, Jamie, that I'd like to bring up is that, we've been doing a lot of online training, and it's new to us because we launched it a year ago, and we're learning as we go with that too. But it's just become so evident to me that the accountability, that is what people are looking for. So with the consultations that we do with the online training, I suppose we're offering a service that's quite unique there. But yet it's what people want. They want the check-ins. They want somebody to talk to them. It's almost like you need, it's like anything, in life, people in business might go and get a mentor to help them, to discuss things, talk things through. And it just, the benefit of having somebody to talk to as a sounding board is so beneficial. And I think it's an area that people need to have it nearly in all areas of their life, from their getting into shape, their business, friendships. It's like we have friendships. It's, it's that expression that we need to help motivate us and get us back on track, get us back on the path of where we're going and what we want to achieve.
No, absolutely. It's completely like that. It's funny, we've just completed a couple of days, almost like doing a course and coaching support system. So shout out to the guy that I'm working with, is Dave. And it's been absolutely brilliant. One of the things that I think is so important, first of all, before even that you start to think of looking at accountability, there was we were looking at some research that was done on businesses, and it was all to do with the number of goals that they were setting. And this is really interesting. When a company set 1 to 2 goals, they tend to achieve 1 to 2 goals. When a company set 3 or 4 goals, they tend to achieve 1 to 2 goals. And then above 4 goals, they don't achieve any goals. So I think one of the things that I think can be really useful is to really nail down something, maybe, and they were calling it your wildly important goal, your WIG. And I've heard in different programs, maybe your big, hairy, audacious goal, having something that really rocks your boat as an individual, or if you're in a company, having a goal that the team comes together so that everything becomes almost like one mind. So when you've got a goal that you're really excited about as an individual, it almost pulls your mind together. Wouldn't you agree? And then from a company point of view, having a goal that everybody, or 1 or 2 goals that, and you can think of maybe just in a fun way, thinking of your goal as the war that you're trying to win. And then maybe you're going to have different goals that feed into that one overall overarching goal. So you, as a company, you have a goal, and then maybe each team has a goal, but it has to feed into the overall goal, and everybody needs to keep a track of it. So the accountability then, which is what you were talking about, is absolutely vital, because it's even when, as an individual, I think it's having somebody to remind you constantly and tracking where you're at relative to the goal. And as a company, we're looking at implementing this month more a sort of a visual scoreboard for everybody. So it's something that in every meeting, and you have a regular cadence of meetings, that you're reviewing where you are relative to your overall goal. And it's that accountability as a team that makes such a difference in a company. But and I know we agree on this. It's when you have that goal that's so exciting, it really takes up all of your mind. It is something that's constantly in the front of your mind, and you really seem to get a drive towards it, don't you? But having that kind of support mechanism, that accountability, you're totally right. Every call that we're making, people who want to do the program, that is what they're looking for. It's the accountability and support. Why else do you think that makes such a difference when you're achieving goals? Because obviously you've used coaching and everything as well. So.
Well, whatever you focus on grows. So, the more you give your attention to whatever it is that you want in any area of your life, the better the result. But you do need to check to see where you're going. It's like getting in shape, Jamie. So, a person will set a goal. They'll say that they want to lose weight, right? And you'll say, okay, you want to lose weight and I want to tone up. Okay, well, that's very wishy-washy. How much weight do you want to lose? You need to be more specific. So the more specific you are, your mind can work towards that. And then you can, as we call it KPIs, you can measure and track your success along the way. So you need to be very specific on the goal and the outcome that you want, because your mind will work better towards that. So it's like, do you want to lose a stone? Do you want to lose two stone? How many inches does that equate to off your waist? And track all those measurements. So that's why it's great to have somebody to sit down with and kind of help guide you through that process. So now we're very specific and we're very clear, and the mind is something to work towards. But like, as you said there with that business, it's funny that they when they set out the goals, they achieved the 2 goals. But if we even look at our Educo model, where Dr. Tony Quinn tracked business owners, or he tracked results in different areas, it was the clear goal that they really were almost obsessed about. You kind of almost have to get obsessed about the area that you want to do well in or achieve a result in, and fill your mind and your senses and everything with that on a daily basis. Surround yourself with people who are into health and fitness. So let's say health and fitness is what your goal. You need to kind of build that community. You need the community around you to support you and help you, make friends with people who are into the same thing as you, because that's going to support you to keep you on the straight and narrow. And let's face it, look, Jamie, everybody in life, it's human nature, can slip off. So that's where you need somebody to rein you back on track and stay focused on the end outcome. But the key thing with the Educo model, which we've been teaching people, is that it's almost like to install the end outcome, so you're coming from it. So Educo means to draw out. So that's why the writing of it and being very clear about your goal, so that it's almost like an automatic response, and you're just, it's what's propelling you out of bed in the morning. You're so excited about it, that it's what it drives you to achieving the goal. So that saying that they say, conceive, believe, achieve, isn't it? So conceive the idea. And we've noticed that even in the gym, with not only working with people, but on a business level as well, that when we are very clear about that end outcome, it's amazing how it just starts to happen magically almost.
100%. That originally came from Napoleon Hill, and that was in the early 1900s, wasn't it? And he talked about this idea that the one thing that people had in common when he interviewed all these successful people was that they used that formula. They all said it in different ways, but it all came down to the same formula. If the person can conceive of an idea and then they can believe in it, then they tended to achieve it. And as people at the time like Rockefeller and Carnegie and all these super successful people. Now, what we've noticed, and probably maybe what I've noticed with myself, it is the belief part that people struggle with. So it's how do you get that belief part? That's really the critical thing. And that is one of the things that you learn on the Educo seminar, is the step-by-step process, the model or the structure, the system, if you can think of it that way, that you use to really install that idea or that goal and outcome, so that your mind sees it as a done deal. And then that's the belief part. And actually, strangely enough, there is a way of doing that, and I think that's what Tony is obviously pioneering on the seminar, is being able to teach people that model. And wow, there's some difference. And I mean, I think goal achieving on the seminar, when they tracked it over 400 seminar participants, their ability to achieve goals went up by 67%, which is absolutely unheard of. And to be able to consistently do that over a long period of time, because often people go on a course, they come back, they get this initial effect. I think it's called the Hawthorne effect, where you get this maybe a quick hit where you're achieving something and then it quickly drops off. It's not long lasting. And what I was going to ask you, one thing that you said, which I think is so important, it's really being able to get clear in your mind the goal that you're looking to achieve. And again, we've covered this before on our chats, but again, research showing that if you write down your goals, you're much more likely to achieve them. And sometimes, if you can think of it this way, if you were to write down your goal or think about your goal, and you were saying, okay, well, if somebody else heard that goal, would they get a clear picture as to what you mean? And I think that's true, isn't it? Because your mind, it's almost like another person. And if it doesn't get the clear picture, if it isn't very, very clear about what you mean, it can't almost wrap itself around it, I think. I don't think I'm saying that very well, but I hope you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's true. It's like, I suppose they do say, Jamie, that there's two people in everyone, you know. So
I'm
it's almost
Gemini,
like, yes.
so that's true.
Yeah, so you have to almost sell it to that other person. So you've got the good and bad. Well, the good, yeah, good, yeah, the positive and negative going on. And I suppose that when you write down your goal, ultimately what you're doing is you're trying to pull your whole mind to go in one direction. So you're getting all your thoughts that are usually fragmented and all over the place, and you're just literally trying to pull those thoughts together just to focus on one result. And what I would say to people is that when you do sit down, you know, at the beginning of the second quarter and reassess the goals that you set for yourself for the first, you know, 3 months of the year, and you know where you were with achieving them or not achieving them, what you said there, Jamie, is very interesting. That, you know, when people set 4 goals, you know, 2 goals and 4 goals,
Mm.
they just always seem to complete the 2 goals. So what I would say to people going forward for the next 3 months is that, you know, just do that, set 2 goals. And you know what, if you find that, you know, you know, do pick the goals you like. So if it is to go for that walk every day, you know, just pick that one. And then the second one might be just improving one meal in your eating plan every day, you know, because all of those little steps will ultimately cause the change in you. And it is baby steps. So when you don't know, when the goal can be a bit overwhelming to a person, it's to chunk it down into the little steps and just keep taking the steps that you see to take. And, you know, be proud of yourself for even achieving those goals. So when you are reassessing the last few months, you know, we're so great to just jump into the areas that we didn't achieve or succeed in. So maybe just kind of highlight the ones that you did succeed in and achieve in, and be proud of yourself. Because, you know, the fact that you're even listening to this and you want to improve your life in different areas and you want to set goals, that's even a step in the right direction for people, isn't
Absolutely.
it?
Ah, 100%. Yeah. And just going back to it, I think one of the things, you know, okay, it's the end of the quarter. So maybe you're looking back at the first 3 months, and no matter if you've achieved your goals, it is a really good time to celebrate that success. So that's the first thing I
Yes.
think you could do, because, and it's great to be in a community or with people who really want to support you. Um, in Ireland, we like to be very modest and we don't like to talk about our successes. And the problem with that, unfortunately, is that you're not giving a chance to almost embed that success in your mind and to really recognize it. Because, and I think that's such a mistake that people make, because you don't get the chance to almost to work off that result and to really build on top of it and almost come out of that success. It's not people are not looking for I suppose, you know, somebody who's going to be just constantly going on about it. It's not that, but it is having a supportive community that you really can say, look, this is what I achieved, and everybody is so supportive of it. And then that's much more likely to be in the mind. And then when you're looking to achieve your next goal, then you're very much coming from that success. And I hope that makes sense to you, because that is one of the biggest things that I learned when I did the seminar, the Educo seminar, that it's so important to recognize your success. People are so quick and so busy moving to the next thing, the next shiny object, without taking a moment to savor and enjoy what they've just achieved, right? And I think that's a huge
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. And we have to enjoy the journey and the process of it all, and the day-to-day application of those little steps to bring you to that big end outcome. But do celebrate it. Now, you know, celebrate it by, you know, renewing for another month of online training, or you know, going for a key massage, or going to your osteopath, or, you know, something that is going to help benefit you. But definitely, I think, you know, highlighting and talking about your success, we know, is so important. And
Yeah.
you get excited about it. So even if you write down, like Jamie, I had, you know, on one of the Zoom nutrition talks I do on a Wednesday night, I had Mary Delaney, the famous Mary Delaney. For those of you who don't know who I'm speaking about, she's a client that came into us at the beginning of last year, before we went into lockdown. She did 2 months in Bagot Street, and then when we locked down, she went straight onto our online training program. And I think she lost nearly 6 stone over the year. Like, it's incredible. Her transformation was unbelievable. So I interviewed her, and I interviewed her because I almost wanted to track her result for other people to see what the steps that she applied to create that success. But one of the things I asked her to do was to describe her outcome, and she described her outcome about, she was in Italy, she was wearing a beautiful summer's dress, she set the scene, the blue skies, the blue sea, she's cycling so she can, see the toned legs that she's developed, she's gained from all the training, and, she's a rucksack. Anyway, she paints the whole scene, right? And it's magical and it's amazing. But afterwards, everyone listening thought it was a real memory that she was talking about, but it wasn't. It was her goal. It was her end goal. But that's what she did. She played that movie, and it was Angela who worked with her on that, to create the movie of the result that she wanted. And she just filled her mind with that and daydreamed about it. But what happened was, where she realized it actually, even though the scene wasn't in Italy, she was at a barbecue last summer wearing the summer dress, where somebody said, "Wow, you look amazing." And that was a big moment for her. So to me, when I listened to her story, it was almost like the dress was the symbol of the achievement of the goal. But have fun with it, daydream. Like, if we think about kids, they're so imaginative. They have so much fun. And if we're the lighter we are, and the more fun we have with it, even with your partner or your husband or your wife or your brother or sister, where you want to sit down and just kind of go, well, what would you want? Almost like if you won the lotto, what would you do? And just fill your mind up with that. But I just thought that was fascinating that she was telling us a story that everybody thought was real.
It is so true, though, because that's how the mind works. So the clearer it is, and the more it's embedded in there, the more then you're likely to come from that. So what about for people who maybe they're looking back on the quarter and they haven't achieved their goals? What's the best, what approach should they take?
We started this series, Jamie, with your mental diet. Right. And we said your mental diet is, if not more important than your physical diet. Right. Everything starts in the mind. So the key thing to remember here is, don't beat yourself up. Right. You need to, because that's where your mind, remember we said there's 2 people in everyone. We want to feed the good one that's in support of us and thinks we're brilliant. So, just reevaluate and keep talking to yourself in the right mindset, that you are going to do it, that the steps that the fact that you're even sitting down to look at it means that you do want to improve, and that you're working towards the end outcome. So reevaluate, and just watch your mental diet, watch your mental talk. And even if you have to write up things around the wall, like, we've learned through Dr. Tony Quinn to write the word switch. And he often says, to switch out of negative thoughts into the positive thoughts, switch out of thinking and into living. And even to put reminders like that up around the wall, or motivational quotes that have a big impact on you, or getting that picture of a body shape that's very similar to yours and putting it up on the fridge. The more you fill your mind and your environment with all the positives and the good affirmations, it's going to really help your mindset. The mindset is crucial. Because like Jamie, we were saying earlier that even in the university study, they got the program very clear, and they were all excited about it, and they were coming from it. So it starts with your mind. Isn't it true, Jamie? It's so important.
100%. And I think if you're looking back and maybe you haven't achieved what you set out to achieve, I don't think that actually that necessarily matters. And what I mean by that is that it's so important that you don't put lots of negative energy into the fact that you haven't achieved your results. So often people can be very hard on themselves. It's in our culture. If you failed, it's a failure, and it can be very an emotional weight that you almost attach to something, and a sort of a heavy almost, you beat yourself up about it, right? Mm-hmm. So what you want to make sure is that you're not doing that, because rarely will you set a goal, and then if you envisage the action steps that you're going to take, it's rare that those exact action steps are going to result in the goal. And what I mean by that is that when you're looking at the feedback and how you're moving towards your goal, you really do need to adjust maybe what you're doing. So you might set out this diet, for example, and you've worked it all out, and this is going to get you to lose X amount of weight and gain this amount of muscle. Now, if that's not happening and you're following the diet 100%, then you have got to adjust the diet. Or if you've set a sales target and you've decided that you're going to do a particular offer, or you're going to do a particular series of things that you're going to sell to hit that target, and it's not moving you towards it, or people aren't buying, you don't keep doing it. So you have to adjust your approach. So I think this is a great time. You've gone through the first quarter to reevaluate how close did you get. Decide what goals you're going to have for the next month and the next 3 months. Does it fit into your plan maybe that you've put together? Have you looked at what would I like to achieve over the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? Having a and it doesn't matter if that changes. It's just good to have a long-term idea in your mind, or long-term outcome, so that everything starts to fit in with that. And then so reevaluate, put together the steps, and then watch it on a day-to-day or a weekly basis. And what about, is there anything that you do, Jacqui, on a daily basis that allows you to evaluate where you're at, or do you look at it more weekly, or what approach do you take?
I know one thing I've definitely learned, Jamie, is obviously on the seminar with Dr. Tony Quinn, we're taught a lot of tools, and Gareth would have mentioned it as well last week, in that when you put the practice in. So it's like any area of life, when you want to get into shape, you apply the steps of getting into shape, which is exercise, following a good eating plan, and that's going to produce the result. Yeah. But I find, again, going back to the mindset, that the mindset has to be right, because if your mindset is right, that's going to support you in the goals that you want to achieve. So I would find that the days that I do things that really make me happy, and what makes me happy is when I am by nature or out for a walk. I absolutely love it. Like this morning before, I came on here, I just took that time, that magical early time in the morning where, you're walking, there's no obstructions, and it's just fabulous. So for me, that's a huge thing that I need to do personally. The other thing I notice that if I do the relaxation class, the relaxation CDs, like we give them in our online challenges, we schedule it twice a week for people to do the relaxation.
Yeah.
When I do that, it helps me. So remember, everything is about a freeing up of your energy. So if you're mentally stressed and worrying and anxious, you may be working against yourself to achieve the goals that you want. So I think on a daily basis, it's important to do things that are going to cause your energy to come up. And remember, when we talk about bringing up energy, it's almost anything that's going to help relax the mind to draw that energy up. That's why weight training is so important, and that's something that I love to do as well. So I might have 3 things in a day that if I do them, I'm at my best and I'm on my game and I'm focused. So I think people need to look at that too, because there are tasks, even if you, like you said, Jamie, if there was 2 things that people could say, every day I need to do this because I know it's going to keep my mind right to stay on track with my goals. So that's something that I personally do. I'd have to do my walk, my relaxation, and weight train. I absolutely love it. And even though I know a lot of you could say, oh, well, Jacqui, you've got your gym, your machine to go to and train on. It's that is true, but I've had a lot of clients that were reluctant actually to do the online training because they're so used to the machine and they don't think that there's anything better than that machine. And they came on board in the last couple of weeks to do the online training, and they're actually quite surprised at the results they're getting from the home workouts. So I know if I didn't have access to a machine, Jamie, I'd be doing my home resistant workouts. And remember, again, a key point I want to say to people, my attitude is very much changed on this. Before, I used to say, yeah, do the exercise that you enjoy to do the most. But I'm actually of the opinion now that everyone needs to do resistance training, because I always say that your muscle is the tissue of longevity, it's the organ of longevity, and you need to keep that strong. And the way you're going to keep that strong is upping your protein and doing resistance training. And not only are you keeping your body strong, but you're keeping your mind strong. And one thing we encourage all our clients to do when they're doing the home workouts is that it's not the weight that's growing your muscle, it's your energy that's growing your muscle. And the more attention, again, you can give to that muscle, you're directing the energy there to cause the result. And, Jamie, we are getting incredible feedback from our online training. And I think we explain things in a way that people haven't heard before, because even when I speak to people about taking that approach, they're like, wow, I've never heard it described like that before. And I also had a client in the UK who told me the other day that, she was going through the home workouts and she was flying through them and almost finding them nearly a little bit easy now, right? And she thought about that and she said, Jacqui, I deliberately decided to really concentrate. And she said, I couldn't believe it. She said, my legs were actually sore the next day. And the workout was totally different. So that was just an example of when you apply your mind more to something, how it can totally change an exercise.
Absolutely.
And Jamie, what do you do? What do you do on a daily basis?
Yeah. Okay, great. And I've noticed this really works particularly when you're in business and you're working with a team, but it's that daily reminder and tracking where you're at relative to your goal. So we've obviously broken our goal into, for the quarter, it's then into monthly, then it's weekly and daily. So on a daily basis, you can see how much you're moving towards the goal, and then looking to see what adjustments you need to make. And I would see it exactly the same way when you're getting into shape. What you're doing is, on a regular basis, you're monitoring how the approach is working. And it's so important that you don't get down about it, that you don't give yourself a hard time. You're literally just looking and watching, and based on the feedback, adjusting the course of what you're doing. That is so vital. And when you're in a team situation, it's exactly the same. You're not beating people up about it. If you work in sales can be full of emotional people, which is what really drives them. There's passion in it. But if they have a bad day and they just go on a run, I always find it really is just about the numbers, and you'll notice a pattern. And somebody could have a bad run of appointments, but you just can't let them get into it. You just have to quickly switch their mind into the outcome they want, and then suddenly they get on a run of great success. So that is the vital part about having accountability, an accountability partner and a coach. When we were talking about even putting together your goals, sometimes when you're putting together your goals, it's just good to have somebody to bounce it off, to get it clear in your mind, because you'll start talking through it, and then you'll start talking through your approach. And then you'll quickly see when you're going through it with somebody else, they'll say, I can't quite see how that's going to get you to what it is that you're aiming for, the outcome that you want. And just having that person who understands this process gets it really clear in your mind. And then you start to see, you actually then start to believe it's going to happen. And they can be very, that you do that, that's a done deal. And you start to think, well, it is a done deal. And once you get that switch in your mind, then everything starts to come from that. And it's exactly like you were saying, making sure that you're doing stuff that you enjoy to do. Your creativity comes from that clarity of mind. I mean, I think everybody, maybe you could say it in lots of different ways. You'll find that doing something you really enjoy, and then you get an idea. So your creativity, it's strangled when you're worrying and you're stressed. So you getting the great idea, having somebody to be able to run those ideas by, who's going to be a good listener, not going to shoot it down straight away. You definitely want to stay away from people who say, I think this quarter or this month I'm really going to lose weight, and they go, why would you bother doing that? Maybe they just want to keep you where you're at because it's going to make them look bad. But
and Jamie, but that's a very good point, because 100%. I read something during the week, and it's so true that, in any area of your life that you want to improve on, go to somebody who's doing it better than you. Go to them and, pick their brains, ask them their advice, and nearly become friends with them, because that's catching. So if you want to up your game, you want to up your level in any area, be it fitness or business, or just even expression, go to the people that you admire that are actually doing it, and surround yourself with them. Be very aware of that, because a lot of people, if they're not motivated and they don't, have the same regard for you in something that you're trying to achieve, as you just said there, Jamie, they can just dismiss it. They can talk you out of it. So don't listen to them. surround yourself with the people who are on the same path as you with your goal. That's why the online community is fantastic. And that is why, you know, I'm just fascinated actually at the amount of people that just almost do our plan, yes, for the exercise, but the key thing they want is the check-ins, the accountability, the pep talks almost from experts in the field, you know, who know what they're doing. So just watch that one, because that's crucial.
Yeah, it's funny. This is the modern world that we're living in at the moment, with and everything's been accelerated with coronavirus. But I was at a virtual dinner last night with some guys in America, and so it started about 11 o'clock last night till 12:30. But it was very interesting. They said exactly the same thing as you. So one of the business owners said, you know, I find I'm caught up in the whirlwind. I'm really working hard. I'm trying to make this business succeed. You know, how do I get to the position that you guys are in, where you're out of the business, you're not maybe doing the day-to-day grind, or maybe like as a gym, you're not training people, maybe you're running the business. And he said, well, one of the things to do is to make sure that you're hanging out with other business owners who are achieving great success without having to, you know, train people and do the day-to-day grind. All very necessary parts of the business. I'm not saying that, but there's definitely a level of, when you want to really grow a business, you need to be able to maybe be outside of the general day-to-day runnings, to be able to, you know, be creative and think about how you're going to grow it and how you're going to improve it for your clients, etc. And they said exactly the same thing. Make sure you're hanging out with people, because then you'll start to see that as normal. And you'll start to see the other thing as, no, that you're working too hard. You shouldn't be doing that. And that it just does adjust your mindset. So I'm just trying to think now, because we want to wrap this up in the next couple of minutes. So we've looked at what's happened in the quarter. If you've done very well, really celebrate it. Make sure it stands out in your mind. If it hasn't gone exactly as you envisaged, don't give up. Really decide where you're going to move forward for the next month and the next for the quarter. Then make sure that you're picking one or two things, and then with those, then you've got maybe a series of different objectives that you have to hit to make that happen, to make that a reality. So, and you start, and then you monitor it frequently on a regular basis. Having accountability is vital. So having a coach or someone to support you. Maybe sometimes just to pick you up off the floor, actually, and just tell you that you are going in the right direction. You just sometimes need that arm around the shoulder. Sometimes you just need to kick up the ass, carrot or stick, and are we leaving anything out? Then it's monitoring it. So if you're in a business, or have a scoreboard. If you're an individual, having a series of KPIs, key performance indicators, they are very important. Setting those on a daily basis and just making sure that, you know, like you're saying, Jacqui, did I train? Did I stick to my diet today? And have a series of greens where you hit those markers. And then you can know for sure, if you're following your approach 100%, you'll know if it's working or not. It's always difficult. If you followed it by 50%, you're always wondering, okay, was the fact I didn't really follow it, or is it the approach? So it does help if you follow the approach properly. Anything else that we've missed out, or have we really covered?
No, you've summed it up there. You know, it's Easter weekend. The sun is shining. We're on. You know, there's light at the end of the tunnel. It's all good. You know, we need to. You know that saying, summer bodies are made in the winter.
No, made in the spring.
They're going to be made in the spring now. So, you know, take action, guys. You know, because you're going to, and there is a saying in the fitness industry as well, that they say that, you know, it takes a month for you to notice, 2 months for your friends to notice, and 3 months for the world to notice. So guys, you've got 3 months now to really make that difference, and go for it. So, you know, reassess, take action, and succeed. But I would just like to say to people, Jamie, have a fantastic Easter, enjoy it, and you know, well done for everything that you've done over the last 3 months.
Yeah, absolutely, and really do enjoy your Easter, and then we're back on track on Tuesday, depending on where you are in the world. Some people are taking Monday off, some people don't, and absolutely, from both of us, we hope you have a brilliant Easter, and we hope that the family that you have around you, that you're really able to enjoy it with them, and we're not far off where we're back to some sort of normal level of living, and we're really looking forward to it. So thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you, Jacqui. It's always a pleasure. 11:11, that must be lucky. So thanks very much.
I just saw it before it changed to 12, Jamie.
Okay, great. Excellent. Good. All right. Brilliant. Thanks, everybody. And we will see you again next week. And if you have anything that you'd like us to cover, we would absolutely love to help out. We try and incorporate as much as we can from comments that we see on our different pages. And so we are always trying to move things forward, and do support each other. It is important. We really are so excited about having that community of people supporting goals and really celebrating successes, because that is such a vital part of self-development, is building that up in your mind. So yeah, from both of us, thank you very much, and we will see you again soon. Goodbye. Enjoy your weekend.